Narcissists are shockingly ungrateful. I'm sure that a lot of us have experienced the shock of giving and giving and doing and doing and bending over backwards for someone for a very long time, only to realize much later that nothing we did was even a little bit appreciated. In this video, I'm going to talk about why narcissists are so ungrateful and why it's important to know this. Welcome to Looking Behind the Mirror, where we explore narcissism and take our lives back as we make sense out of nonsense. As a quick disclaimer, everything I say is based on my opinions and my personal experiences. I'm not a professional, and if you're really struggling, I encourage you to seek professional help. I will provide links below for you. So I'm going to break down in chunks throughout this video different reasons that narcissists are so ungrateful, and there is more than one reason, and each reason is a very important component of this lack of gratitude, so to speak. The first one is their entitlement. Narcissists are pathologically entitled, and I'm sure I've said that probably about 100 times in my previous videos, but this is a huge piece of the puzzle that leads to their ingratitude. A good analogy to describe their entitlement to you bending over backwards or doing anything that they want you to do would be when you go shopping at the store, if we ever start using cash again anyway. When you go shopping at the store and you pay with cash and the cashier gives you your change, you're not grateful that the cashier has given you your change unless you're an extremely grateful person. You expect the cashier to give you your change. This is Marshall. He wants to be in the... Baby, come here. Oh. You are entitled to that change, and you're not going to be grateful for it because you'd be upset if you didn't get your change, right? Well, narcissists feel like that when they're asking you to basically give up your whole life for them, to set yourself on fire to keep them warm, so to speak. They feel that entitled to absolutely everything you could possibly give them and more. And they're not really conscious of this. I mean, they wouldn't really care to delve into it to understand it, but they don't really think about it. They don't wake up in the morning and think, I am entitled to whatever I want. It's a subconscious defense to the pathological feelings that they're actually trying to bury. Deep down, they feel like they don't deserve anything. Deep down, like I've said in other videos, they feel like they don't even deserve to live. So this entitlement is an overcompensation. I have a video that's all about the entitlement of narcissists if you want to check that out, that explains this in more detail. But this is a big part of what leads to their ingratitude. You can't be grateful for something that you expect to get no matter what. So then we add to their entitlement with the fact that narcissists are never happy with anything. They're never satisfied. Nothing you do is ever good enough. So how can you be grateful for something that isn't good enough? Narcissists don't appreciate your efforts. You might spend months every day for hours trying to do something the way they want. You might go to extreme lengths to change your habits or sacrifice the things that you would like to do in an effort to try to make them happy. And as I'm sure a lot of you have experienced, all you're going to get is criticism. There's no gratitude. And it's because they sincerely feel frustrated by the things that you've done. Nothing is ever good enough, and they really think that it's your fault. Narcissists have a very deep sense of dissatisfaction with absolutely everything, and they project that onto you. They pretend that it's your fault. They have to pretend that because if they face the truth that this sense of dissatisfaction and this sense of nothing's ever good enough is coming from inside of them, then they would have to deal with that. They would have to do something about it. They would have to own it. And make no mistake, this feeling eats them alive every day. It's an extremely uncomfortable feeling, and narcissists are not exactly the pillars of strength that it would require to be able to deal with such deep pathological feelings. So they're going to just blame it on you. So no matter what you do, this is going to be taken to an extreme. No matter what heroic efforts you go to try to make them happy, they're just going to be upset with you because it's not good enough. And they're going to pretend that you're not trying, that you're not listening to them. And you can't prove to them that you are trying. You can't prove to somebody that you're putting in a lot of effort, and they wouldn't care anyway because they think that they're entitled to perfection. They're entitled to you getting it right. And if you haven't gotten it right yet, well, that's your fault. Something must be wrong with you, and they're going to punish you for that. They're certainly not going to thank you for it. When you look at it from their point of view, why would they thank you for something that's not making them happy when they feel like you owe it to them to make them happy? They're not going to recognize that it's their problem, that it's their fault, that they're never happy with anything. So this is why they can never really say thank you and mean it. Thank you for what? In their eyes, you failed them. And to add to this, when you are grateful for something, that takes a little bit of humility. When you are grateful to somebody for something they've done, that is recognition that you needed something or you stood to benefit from something that they were able to provide for you, that you weren't able to do for yourself, or that it really helped you out to have someone else do it for you. So that's like admitting that you need someone. That's like admitting that you need people and that you needed that person specifically for whatever it was they did for you. When you are grateful to someone, you are surrendering power in a sense. You are saying, I couldn't do this, or I needed help. And narcissists cannot surrender their power. Narcissists have to feel like they're in control of everything all the time. They cannot tolerate any feeling of vulnerability. If you are able to give them something of value that they value, then you would be able to take it away. So they can't recognize that you were able to give them something of value, something that is so valuable that they would feel grateful for it. That leaves them open. That leaves them vulnerable to you coming along later and taking it away. Narcissists are not operating in a world where people are reciprocating, where people care about each other, where I give a little, you give a little, we all do our part, we get along, and we benefit from each other because we all care about each other. Narcissists don't live in a world like that. They live in a world where dog eat dog, where take what you can get, because if you don't take it, someone else is going to take it. Hold on to it because everyone's trying to steal your stuff. Don't leave yourself vulnerable because everyone's always looking for an opportunity to take advantage of you. Everyone has an angle. Everyone's trying to get theirs at any cost, and they're just looking for an opportunity to screw you over. So if you give them something, or if you provide them something, if you do a favor for them, they're not thinking, wow, how nice. Wow, that's great. I'll have to do something nice for them later. They're thinking, what do you want? Why'd you give me that? Well, I don't owe you anything, do I? Well, I'm not going to give it back. Well, what's your angle? What are you up to? That's the kind of thoughts that will go through their head because they don't trust your intentions. They don't trust anyone's intentions. And they don't understand why someone would do something for someone else just to do something for someone else, because they don't ever do that. Narcissists never do anything for someone else unless there's an angle to it, unless they're going to benefit from it somehow at some point. So to show gratitude to somebody for giving you something is like admitting that they have power over you. It's like admitting that they won. At least that's how a narcissist looks at it. And I think that's pretty sad that they aren't able to live in harmony with people where they can just trust people and have real friends and healthy relationships where everything is transactional and everything has strings attached and everybody has an angle. If you provide them something that they actually need, they're actually going to resent you for it. They're going to feel like you're more powerful, like you have some kind of control over them. They're not going to appreciate that at all. They're actually going to be upset about it. They're going to feel threatened by that. Okay, and as if all of that wasn't enough, even if they did feel grateful for something, even if they could recognize that, they can't express that towards you. Because if they express gratitude towards you, it's like telling you that you're good enough. It's like telling you that you've hit the mark and that what you've done is satisfactory and you don't have to keep trying to make them happy anymore because you've already done it. Narcissists can't really do that because they're in a constant state of manipulating you. They are constantly dangling a carrot in front of you. They are constantly keeping you on a hamster wheel, making you feel like nothing you do is ever good enough. They need to keep you there, or they think they do, so that they can keep controlling you, so that they can keep using that leverage to get what they want out of you. They don't know how to have a healthy, stable, reciprocal relationship. They only know how to manipulate people. And if they start thanking you for things and showing true gratitude for things, well, now they've lost control. Now they're just riding a bicycle downhill in first gear. They don't have anything to push against anymore. They have to keep you trying to make them happy, or they don't even know what to do with themselves. It feels uncomfortable and threatening to them to let go of that. So for them to thank you and acknowledge that you've done something, quote, good enough, it makes them feel vulnerable, like the control they have over you is slipping through their fingers. And real quick, I want to add that it's possible that you've known a narcissist or you've had a narcissist in your life that at times has told you that such and such is good enough. And I doubt that there's ever been true gratitude expressed. I doubt that you're ever going to see a pathologically narcissistic person really thank you in a genuine way, in a humble way. However, they might say thank you, and they will certainly say the words, "I appreciate you," or "It's great to have you around." And that's really just giving you breadcrumbs to keep you on that hamster wheel, to keep that dangling carrot in front of you. So there may be moments that they will say these sorts of things, but you will never really feel appreciated, even if they say those words. You're never going to feel like you're good enough. And that's done on purpose to keep control over you. And those words that they might say, those moments that they actually say, "I appreciate you," or "Thanks for doing that," those are almost moments where they can just pick those up later and hold them over your head when you try to tell them how ungrateful you feel like they are or how unappreciated you feel. They can say, "What do you mean? I thank you all the time. I just told you last week how much I appreciated you. Here's a greeting card I filled out telling you how appreciated you were." And what can you say to that? But you're not crazy. They are making you feel unappreciated, and they do not appreciate you. And you will see that sooner or later. There will come a time where you will realize that something you've been doing, something you've been putting an enormous amount of effort into, has actually not been appreciated even a little bit. You will never really feel like you've done enough. You might have these little moments where you can rest for a second because, oh good, they seem happy, but it won't last. You will never feel like you're good enough. You will never feel like you're really quite hitting the mark. You're always going to be in a state of trying to be appreciated, trying to be good enough, and blaming yourself and thinking that the reason that you're not appreciated is because you're not doing good enough. And it can be even worse if you're in a situation where you're giving and giving and giving and giving, assuming that you're being appreciated. I was in a situation once where I was with a narcissistic individual this went on for years. I don't want to be too specific about what this was, but this person had a project that he was working on that I did not care about at all. But to be supportive and to help, because I cared about this person, I spent probably hundreds of hours over the course of about 1.5 years listening to him talk about this project, giving the best feedback I could, sacrificing hours and hundreds of hours that I would have rather spent doing almost anything, thinking that I was showing support, thinking I was being appreciated, that I was helping him out by listening to him go on and on and on and on and on about something that actually really never made any sense and really never even actually went anywhere. I helped this person with this project. I physically helped. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I ran all over the place with this person. I did work on this. I spent, like I said, hundreds of hours helping out. And after about a year and a half, a bunch of stuff was happening, and we got in an argument one day, and he started yelling at me and telling me that I never helped him with anything and I don't support him and I'm holding him back. And I realized after a little bit of back and forth that all those hundreds of hours I had spent losing sleep, going bleary-eyed, listening to him talk about this thing, physically helping him, running around, doing things on this project with him just because I cared about him when I could not have cared less about the project, was not appreciated at all. In fact, he was angry at me. He was angry at me for not being as obsessed with this project as he was. He was angry at me for ever wanting to do anything but this project. And I had spent so much time on this that really stung. To realize that all of that time meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. I might as well have been doing what I wanted to do, and that I had just wasted all of that time. And if I think about it, I could probably come up with 100 examples of different people throughout my life that have shown me that kind of shocking ingratitude. But I just remember that in particular because that was not fun, and I did that just because I cared about him and wanted to show support. And wow. I mean, I didn't realize that he was pathologically narcissistic at the time, and this was actually a big part of what helped me figure it out. And I didn't understand what pathological narcissism was, but this is a huge red flag. Normal people don't expect you to put your life on hold and stop doing anything that you would like to do so that you can help them with whatever it is that they're doing, even though you have no interest in it at all. And even if they did, they would appreciate you for it. They'd say thank you. They wouldn't start yelling at you after a year and a half about how unsupportive you are and how you don't care and you never do anything for them. That's more like what a toddler does. So that's really the level of gratitude that a pathological narcissist has, is the level of a toddler. I mean, when you give a 2-year-old a cookie, are they grateful for it? Or are they just happy to have it and they eat it up? Do they stop and think about all the time that you spent making them dinner? Does a toddler care that you cleaned their laundry and that you paid for the roof over their head? They don't even think about it. They're not grateful because it's just a small child, emotionally immature. Narcissists have that same level of gratitude. Gratitude is something that you develop as a child growing into an adult. Gratitude is just one more thing that a pathological narcissist never learned and never developed and never will. I hope this helps. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below any ideas you have for me for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like this video and you would like to see more like it in the future. Until next time, thanks. Bye.